This was one of the most awkward encounters for the man. He had just been quietly sketching the woman across from him, but she unhesitatingly tore open the chocolate he had left on the table, and started enjoying it on her own. The man froze for a moment. A flicker of confusion crossed his eyes. To assert some kind of playful claim, he broke off a piece of chocolate and put it in his mouth, then looked at her with a teasing glint in his eye, but she didn't seem affected at all. Instead, she gracefully broke off another piece and popped it into her mouth. This bizarre encounter had both of them thoroughly amused. They exchanged smiles, appreciating the strange synchronicity between them. The man was about to speak to break the silence, but the woman reached her stop. She stood lightly, leaving with the lingering scent of chocolate. Faced with Callie's gesture, she offered no words in return, only a meaningful, heartfelt glance back. Just as Callie was about to step off the train, he suddenly realized the chocolate in his pocket remained untouched. In that moment, he understood how comically awkward his earlier behavior had been. But fate always weaves its own strange encounters, almost like destiny. The next day, Callie ran into the woman again unexpectedly. He couldn't wait to explain the misunderstanding from yesterday.
I also purchased the Echo Bar, and I'm hoping you worked that out by now, yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see your face when you realized.
To apologize, Callie gave her the carefully drawn portrait. But before anything more could happen, they shared a smile and shook hands goodbye. But the moment he turned, Callie began to regret it. He was annoyed he hadn't asked for her contact information. Just then, the woman suddenly called out to him.
Hey, Cameron? Here.
Oh no, that's for you. Keep it.
Give it to me again.
Faced with her gesture of goodwill, Callie felt pure joy, like a child, happiness quietly shining in his eyes. A love reciprocated is always warm and beautiful. They became inseparable. Soon they started a family. Not long after, his wife gave birth to a bright and clever son. Their home felt like a spring morning, full of light, but fate seemed unkind. Lately, Callie often felt dizzy, as if the world spun around him. He tried to stay conscious, but eventually collapsed uncontrollably. After thorough tests, he received a cruel diagnosis. He had an incurable terminal illness. Callie desperately wanted to tell his wife, but every time he tried, he swallowed the words back. He thought of his wife grieving her brother's death, remembered how she had cried for months, even shutting herself in for half a year, trying to heal on her own. Callie knew how much she valued family, and how fragile her heart was, unable to bear losing a loved one again. So he chose silence. Callie felt unprecedented loneliness and helplessness. Looking at his wife and child's warm smiles, a wave of melancholy and sorrow welled up, but this happiness felt fragile, like glass. He knew once he was gone, all of this would shatter like a bubble. On the edge of despair, Callie remembered an ad he had seen for cloning. A tougher choice lay before him, as life neared its end. Should he confess everything to his family, or let a clone continue loving them in his place? He chose the latter. With mixed emotions, Callie found the doctor, and agreed to join the cloning project. But when he first saw his clone, he couldn't help but be amazed. It was a being identical yet somehow separate. Height, facial features, even tiny skin markings, were mirror images. The only difference was an extra black mole on the clone's hand. Even though Callie had prepared himself, facing the clone who would take his place, he couldn't accept it calmly. A wave of unprecedented resistance and unease surged, a panic he couldn't put into words. The professor noticed his anxiety, and calmly introduced another female clone. She was an ordinary office worker, living a simple, fulfilling life, but she had never known she was a clone. Callie felt comforted, watching the clone mother with her daughter. He saw life's truest happiness. The clone mother cared for her child with selfless love, and he imagined his own wife and child could enjoy the same with the clone. A similar, happy life. When Callie returned home, looking at his smart son and gentle wife, he smiled kindly. But this warm scene pricked his heart like a thorn. Tears welled in his eyes. His internal struggle crashed like turbulent waves, beating against his heart again and again. He knew he could never selfishly abandon his family. Perhaps letting another Callie continue loving them was the best choice. So he made up his mind. Told his wife he'd be on a short business trip, assuring her not to worry. But in truth, he severed his emotional connection. Alone, to restart the cloning process, he began transferring memories to the clone. His consciousness flowed slowly into the clone's mind. Fragments of his life, like ancient paintings brushed by the hand of time, gradually became clear in the clone's awareness. Sweet moments with his wife, time with his son, family moments together, flashed through his mind like a revolving lantern. And as the memory transfer completed, the clone fully inherited these perfect memories. When the clone opened his eyes, his life path merged completely with Callie's. The doctor immediately told the clone he was someone else's replacement, but the clone felt no resistance, because in his mind, he now held all of Callie's memories. The warm family scenes, his hesitation and struggle with cloning, felt real and vivid, as if experienced firsthand. Callie was immersed in a playful video game with his son, laughter echoing between them. But a sudden dizziness struck like dark claws, dragging him mercilessly toward the abyss. Luckily, just before losing consciousness, he ended the video. This made Callie realize deeply that his time was running out, the clock of life near empty. Seeing the activated clone, he was calmer than before. No words were needed. They both understood their responsibilities, but not everything went smoothly. The first real test ran into problems. The clone was to talk to his wife in his place. The video call connected. When the clone saw his wife, he, initially nervous, became completely at ease, fully immersed in his role, even forgetting he was a clone. He laughed and joked with his wife, as if they were the closest couple on earth, while Callie grew increasingly uncomfortable, clenching his hands, his eyes full of anger and jealousy, feeling as if this imposter had stolen everything. Finally, he couldn't bear it. He abruptly hung up. His sudden action enraged the clone, and they fell into an argument.
What did you do? I don't like this. And you think I like this?
talking to my wife under a spotlight? She's not your wife!
Their words were harsh, emotions running high, releasing all frustration and anger. But during the argument, Callie's illness flared again. The clone snapped back to reality and started blaming himself. He understood he was just a substitute, but talking to his wife made him briefly forget he was a clone. This experience also made them realize they were deeply connected, two halves of the same fate. I comforted the clone. This wasn't really your fault, because you carry not only Carly's memories, but his emotions and experiences exactly as he had. At this moment, you are another Carly. There's no real difference between us. When Carly wakes from the coma, the clone takes the initiative to apologize. Both of them know very well neither is fully ready yet. Before the replacement happens, a strong urge rises in Carly's heart. He wants to go back and say a final goodbye to his wife and son, but just as he returns home, ready to enter, that damn illness strikes again. He feels the world spinning, and collapses uncontrollably to the ground. If his wife finds out about this, all their plans will be ruined. But luckily, Carly wakes up just in time. He struggles to climb into the car. His longing gaze passes through the window, fixed on his wife, so close yet unreachable, her face like a flower across the river, beautiful but unattainable. Carly's illness worsens under this helpless emotion. He realizes deeply, he's completely lost the chance to appear normally in front of his family. His time is really running out. To make sure the clone can replace him seamlessly, Carly must spend time with the clone, observing subtle differences in daily life. But what terrifies them both is how astonishingly similar they are. Their calm, reserved personalities, and meticulous daily habits mirror images of each other. The only difference, Carly's life is ending, while the clone can continue living healthily. Finally, the clone returns to the warm, loving home in Carly's place. His wife notices nothing unusual, because the clone behaves just like Carly. But as they embrace, the family dog barks furiously. Perhaps in the dog's eyes, the clone can never replace the real owner. Carly's wife doesn't suspect anything from the dog's reaction, lost in the joy of reunion, while the real Carly can only watch his family from the clone's perspective. He gazes at their smiling faces from afar. His lips curve slightly in a faint smile, but in the next moment, a shadow falls over his heart, because he can only stay behind the scenes, regretting the happiness that should have been his.
I couldn't lose you, Cal. I couldn't live.
Once upon a time, Carly thought the happiness brought by the clone would last like a gentle stream, but over time, he began noticing something unusual. The clone started taking off his lenses more frequently. Carly asked the postdoc, who explained, all clones initially struggle to accept that they're just tools, so they remove their lenses. But when this starts happening, it also means the clone has integrated into daily life. Although Carly feels resistant and confused, whenever he thinks of his family's happy smiles, he swallows all doubts and dissatisfaction. He chooses patience, sacrificing his own feelings, yet that unease simmers like an undercurrent, always ready to break through the surface calm. Until one night, it turns into a nightmare, plunging him into deep fear. In the dream, he sees the clone attacking his wife. Carly wakes in a cold sweat. He can't just sit there, so he decides to sneak out of the lab to see his wife. On the way, he thinks about how to face everything, how to control the strong restraint within him. When he finally returns home, he doesn't dare approach his family, worried that appearing with the clone would ruin everything. He quietly enters the study, looking at the artwork his other self created. Carly realizes such exquisite work requires calm and stable emotions. He sits quietly on the couch. The painting in front of him feels like a world both real and distant. His thoughts wander within it, until he opens the computer. It shows happy moments of his wife and son, vivid and alive, scenes he hadn't seen on the monitors. Watching these joyful moments, Carly's worries and doubts slowly fade. When he reviews the clone's messages with his wife, he sees the care and warmth, full of love. Carly realizes fully, the clone has been loving his wife in his place. Suddenly the clone appears behind him. When their eyes meet, Carly feels a rush of complex emotions. He expected blame for his selfishness, but the clone's eyes show understanding and forgiveness. Instead of driving him away, the clone gives him a chance to say goodbye. At that moment, the dog rushes in, seeing two identical owners, mixed with familiar scents. The dog is confused, but thankfully, doesn't bark. After exchanging clothes, Carly quietly enters his son's room, gently wakes the sleeping child. Then they go to the living room for snacks. The clone watches silently, feeling deep sympathy for Carly. These simple daily moments are so precious and unreachable for Carly. The son enjoys the happiness, unaware it's his father saying a final goodbye. His smile is like sunshine, warming Carly's heart. But that smile is a double-edged sword, bringing joy and piercing Carly's heart. He studies his son's face carefully, full of love and regret, knowing he won't see his son grow up, miss his adulthood, or his future wedding. He can only celebrate his son's joys in advance this way. Even his breathing trembles. After a heartfelt farewell with his son, Carly goes to the bedroom, holding his wife tightly. His wife senses something is off, but doesn't press, only comforts him gently, telling him everything will be fine. Carly asks if she's happy with life now. She nods firmly. Carly finally feels at ease, and smiles genuinely. She gently comforted her husband,
I love you too, Dad.
telling him everything would be okay. Carrie asked if she was happy with her life now. His wife nodded without hesitation. Carrie finally felt at ease. He smiled genuinely from the heart, his eyes full of deep affection as he gazed at his wife, wishing time could stop right at this moment. Memories with his wife quietly surfaced in his mind. He hated that their love had drifted away, and he couldn't be there until the very end. But he also felt relief that he didn't have to see his wife fall into sorrow again, because not only did a clone fill his place, the man perfectly maintained the happiness of his wife and child. Before leaving, Carrie solemnly handed the meaningful ring to the clone. This gesture symbolized Carrie entrusting everything to this version of himself. Carrie didn't didn't say anything else, because he knew the clone would, just like him, love and care for his wife and child with all his heart. Finally, they shook hands to say goodbye, reconciling with each other, and completely stepping out of each other's lives. Not long after, the doctor cautiously told Carrie that the clone had all memories of being cloned, completely erased. He was now fully restored to the version of you before getting sick. Carrie didn't react much, because this was exactly the outcome he wanted. Unexpectedly, the doctor explained that before erasing the clone's memory, he had left a special gift for him, a recording about love, capturing his wife's true feelings for him. He knew his wife loved him deeply.
也许爱让此刻变成灰色，我们还是一如既往的冷漠，感受着仅存的快乐。
Tell me you love me.
回想我们走过的那些曲折，只有我们俩的别人没法懂得。你说你
No.
What are you doing? A chopping star.
For real, B.
What?
Look me in the eyes and tell me you love me.
别再难过，
What are you doing?
有话
Just
都不想
come on,
说
for real.
几年以后
I need to hear it.
你要快乐，世界没那么多因果。 我走后，你别再想我，尽管有太多
I love you,
的不
Captain
舍
Tanner.
这是你要的自
Always
由
have.，
我还给你了。
And always will.
我走了，
How's that?
别再难过。
That was good.
心里有话都不想再说。
That love was unique and eternal. No one could ever take it away. Not long after, Carrie reached the end of his life on Clone Island. His passing was like a falling star, leaving people in sorrow. Yet in his final moments, he left his wife and child the most romantic lie, sending an angel to keep loving them for him. It was an angel he had carefully chosen and tested. This time, they must be happy forever. Some say, a swan's cry before death is particularly beautiful. A mournful yet resolute farewell. Perhaps this film is named for that. It sings of determination and endurance, of the singer and his unease, and the profound love that knows when to let go. Ethically, clones remain a difficult subject. They challenge our understanding and limits of life. Yet when we stand at life's crossroads, facing reality about to slip away, are we willing to let a clone take our place in caring for those we love? Watching yourself slowly replaced is undoubtedly painful. Yet in the name of love, should we choose to let him continue carrying on our feelings? Maybe you are me, and I am no longer myself. I am about to fade away. So please, in my name, continue to care for the ones I love.